Woody Womack joined by Mike Farrell to break down the playoff rankings. They're out there, official, Mike. Alabama number one, Clemson number two, Ohio State number three, and Notre Dame number four. First of all, do you agree with that order?
I do. I do agree with that order. And I know you read my 3 point stance like religiously, but November 10th, I said it was over. After Notre Dame beat Clemson, these four were locked in. There was no way this was going to change. The Big Ten made changes to make sure Ohio State got in. But I mean, really, those are the four best teams, I believe. We can argue about it.
Well, before the year, you said the Pac 12 was eliminated because they were only playing 7 games.
I
So,
did. I did. I
what
did.
happened?
Um, you know, I don't know what happened. I mean, first of all, the Pac-12 played themselves out of it. They didn't even get to play 7 games. I don't think one team played a
Well,
7 game schedule. But
but I'm saying Ohio State played the same amount of games that you said
yeah,
was not
yeah.
enough.
And listen, okay, in a perfect world, I don't believe Ohio State should be in. This is what I figured would happen, I guess is better to say.
Okay.
But I go back and forth on it. Okay, so the debate about Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. I mean, I guess we could debate no, we can debate Texas A&M versus Ohio State first, if you want. The Buckeyes have two top 15 wins. Texas A&M has the big win over Florida. Not much else,
Well,
but they
Florida
played
has,
more games. My issue with the Buckeyes is not their talent; it's that they played 6 games. Um, but you knew they were going to get in, so I guess I should reframe your question. Did they get it right? I don't know.
I mean, look, I feel bad for Texas A&M, but here's what I always tell people that are fans of teams: once you lose a game, you put it, it's out of your hands. It's like when you lose a game on a missed free throw or something. It's like, you had the chance to make the free throw and win the game. You missed it, you lose. You got blown out by Alabama. As much as it sucks, you're out. So you're like it's
Well,
out of your
Clemson
hands.
lost too.
Oh, right, but they avenged their only loss. We saw that happen the year Oregon lost to Arizona. They played again in the championship game, and they won and they got in. Now the difference is both teams didn't get in, but I mean, look, Notre Dame has one loss to the number two team in the country, and they also beat them. Now, if Texas A&M and Alabama had played twice, maybe you'd have a different story. But I just think once you lose, it's out of your hands, and you just have to hope to get lucky because the playoff cartel committee, I mean, like you said, their mind was made up. There, for some reason, Iowa State was number six. Once that happened, you knew that the results on the field didn't matter, and that was that. I mean,
Well, and they talked about the Buckeyes winning their conference, so that's obviously a big
who
deal.
cares? That doesn't matter to me. It
Well,
shouldn't
it's
matter.
only a big deal when the Buckeyes win the conference because when Penn State won the conference, the Buckeyes went to the playoffs.
Right?
Um,
Notre Dame didn't win its conference, so
no, but they got to the conference. They got to the conference final, and Texas A&M didn't because they couldn't because they lost to Alabama. These are all the arguments. You know, I think there's I think there's two good teams. That's it. You know, you have to either go 8 or you just go 4 and leave out one of these teams that would get blown out anyways. I mean, Notre Dame's going to get destroyed by Alabama. Clemson's going to roll Ohio State, and then we're going to have the real championship game there. I'd love to see 8 because it'd be more interesting. But do I believe the Buckeyes with 6 wins and an uninspiring victory over Northwestern and a tough victory over Indiana belongs? No, they don't. But is this what I expected? I guess that's what I thought your question meant. Absolutely. There was no drama here. It was done. I mean, the second they changed the rule to get the Buckeyes into the Big Ten championship game, it was over.
well. So you said you wanted to see 8 teams, but when you tweeted them out, it was just random teams. I mean, don't you think if they expanded to 8, it would be the 5 conferences would be guaranteed, and then the sixth one would be
Yeah. I
Cincinnati,
mean,
the
in a
Equitable.
perfect world, the 5 conference champions, and then you can't do that this year because the conference champion is Oregon in the Pac-12, and they lost to Oregon State and Cal, and what do they have, 4 wins?
Right.
So that's why I tweeted out, these aren't random teams, Mr. Womack. These are
Well, I'm saying like
uh,
they're not going to expand the playoff so 5 SEC teams can get in. It would have to be the
no, I agree with you. I'm talking this year.
okay.
This
All
year
right.
where they changed all the freaking rules, right? They changed the rules for Ohio State. Now they're changing the COVID protocol. They're changing everything so that the Buckeyes can make it in there and make tons of money for everybody. And TV ratings are going to be good. Change it up on the fly this year and say 8, and then make Cincinnati your 8. Have them go play Alabama. There's your group of 5 getting a chance. 7 Gators,
Yeah, I
Clemson
mean,
2.
look, the gate. I personally wouldn't put the Gators in my top 8. I'm sorry. You got 3
You'd put
losses.
Georgia over them, but they beat Georgia.
I wouldn't put Georgia in there either.
Well, who would you put?
I'd probably put Oklahoma.
I got them at number
I would
6.
probably put Cincinnati,
I got them at number 8.
and then I would add in. Then it would be Texas A&M, and then
I got them at 5.
right, and then the random team would be somebody. I'd probably go off the board. Like
Like who?
it would have been USC if they won.
Yeah, but they didn't.
It would probably be Coastal then.
UNC?
It'd be Coastal Carolina.
Oh, Coastal Carolina. I thought you were talking about the ACC Coastal.
No, why do these teams that you lose? Sorry, you lost twice. You're out. Guess what? There doesn't need to be 8. Like you said, there's only 2 good teams. We only need 2.
I know, but let's go. But 8, you'd have a better off. You'd have a better chance, sort of convincing me, I guess, of Indiana.
You would have it. Yeah, you would have a worse chance at getting the best team to win because they'd have to play meaningless games and maybe get guys injured and stuff like that.
I hear you. I'm just saying that this is the year that would have been nice to be flexible with it. And I wouldn't pick Coastal. I would pick, I mean, Florida, listen, they had a bad loss to LSU. They played tough against A&M and lost late. And they're the only ones who have given Alabama sort of a run. I know Ole Miss did early.
The game was never really in doubt. I mean, was it?
Yeah, well, they never got blown out. I mean, it was constant. They weren't going to lose. They weren't going to win the game, but they kept in it. You know, like
right.
There's an opportunity there for Alabama many times to just run away with this, which would have been nice because I took them with the line, and they didn't. So you know, Florida's stick-to-itiveness and their offensive play and the gritty play of Kyle Trask, I would put Florida in there. Now, a 3-loss team, I get your point. That's horrible. But Coastal Carolina, and you know, I've become a big Coastal fan, has beaten some pretty awful football teams. I mean, I don't know.
Multiple wins over ranked teams. So.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they beat Louisiana Lafayette when they were 21. They beat BYU when they were 13. So they got 2 wins over top 25 teams. But I still wouldn't put them in there.
Florida have?
I still wouldn't put them in
there. How many does Florida have? I'm just curious.
I listen, I'm all over the map here because I don't know what is right, because after Bama and Clemson, everybody else stinks. Like the Buckeyes looked horrible. Justin Fields looked lost. Trey Sermon had to save the day, come out of nowhere and rush for 300 and some odd yards to even get them to beat Northwestern. They almost lost to Indiana. I mean, they're not a good football team. They don't look good at all.
So, okay, we got to wrap up. The answer was 1. Florida has 1.
Oh, is it? You asked that question?
Yeah, I said how many ranked teams did they beat?
Is that really right?
Yeah, they beat Georgia. And then they beat South Carolina, Ole Miss, Missouri,
right. Yeah,
Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Tennessee.
All right, that's an ugly group of teams.
Exactly. So,
all right, forget the Gators. Get them out of there.
Put in Coastal. All right, Mike. Let's wrap up. You can hear Mike and I on our podcast. It comes out every Tuesday. Be sure to check that out on our YouTube channel or on iTunes.
You don't want my prediction?
Curry, what is it?
Alabama.
Okay, easy prediction. Okay, thanks, Mike.
Welcome.